Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bont Cycling Vaypor S Reflex road cycling shoes. One common proverb is, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And that applies to the latest Bont Vaypor S shoes we'll be covering in this review. Rather than drastically changing these shoes, Bont Cycling has simply updated it with the latest BOA dials and a couple other minor tweaks. In terms of packaging, it's very simple. We actually received it in this box, which is kind of surprising. Hopefully our mailman doesn't know how expensive these are and then steal them. But we received it pretty safely. You can see Bont on the back, and that's about it. We've already peeled off the label. You go ahead and open it and go over the specs. Retail price on this is $415, so the price has gone up slightly from the originals. They have a retro reflective finish as a part of the Reflex lineup, and that means once you hit a little bit of light, these things will pop like a beacon, so great for low visibility. They have the new BOA Li2 dial system on here. That's really the big difference between these shoes and the previous version. They have the same replaceable heel and toe guards, which means you can service these shoes for many years to come, and actually has upgraded hardware. So 316 stainless steel bolts for the front and the back. You have the moldable carbon outsole that Bont Cycling is so well known for. So that means you can throw this in the oven and then simply mold it to your feet for a truly custom fit, and the anatomically shaped outsole that Bont is known for. So it's really shaped like your actual feet. So very wide all the way through. There's also the wider version too, so it's a little bit more exaggerated. And it has the 3.6 millimeter stack height, which is one of the industry leading values, so very thin and gives you a more direct connection with your pedals. In terms of what comes with the shoes, you get the actual mounting hardware for the cleats. You get a little Bont Cycling card here that tells you a little about it, as well as a little discount code. You get the Bont Cycling bag. This is great for storing it. So if you ever want to prevent it from getting damaged or dust, throw it in the bag when you're not using it. And then I think that's about it. Let's pull out the other one. Yeah, so that's about it. And you have the little tag on here with how the BOA dial works. Now let's take a look at the weight of the shoes. Again, we have the Euro 44 in the wide variation. So putting both shoes on here with no cleats, that comes in at about 532 grams. So still on the lighter side. Now let's go over the fit and finish of the Bont Cycling Vaypor S shoes. These are part of the Reflex line, so that's why it has this distinctive finish and this glossy accent color. So once the light hits this thing will really shine, and we'll show that a little bit later, but really beautiful shoe. You have a micro suede upper with a lot of perforations here. You have the speed dimples going along the side. And then the big difference here with the previous Vaypor S is the fact that you have the BOA Li2 dial. So you can see much flatter, easier to use, and then micro adjustments in both directions, more control over the older IP1 dial. So you can see you can loosen it and then pull to fully unlock it. And with these shoes, you have this wraparound design. So you can see how this comes up and over. And then as you tighten it, it really pulls your feet in. And because you have a dual zone setup, you can adjust the ankle and the toe box separately for that really custom fit. You can see the back heel is also tilted forward to really keep you in place. And this nice soft liner along the edge so you don't have any discomfort. The sole is what really sets the Bont Cycling shoes apart from other shoes on the market. You can see very wide. Again, this is the wide version, so it's a little bit exaggerated, but even in the standard width, you get wide design all the way down the bottom, so it's much more anatomically correct. And you can see how the carbon sole extends all the way up and over, so it provides a lot of stiffness in that heel cup where you need it, so you can ride fast and still be comfortable. Also, these are all heat moldable, so that means you throw it in the oven and you can get it exactly match your feet. So you heat it up, put your feet in there, and then do that a few times so you can get it to be an exact match, which is really impressive. Bont also offers some customization programs if you don't like the default colors. You can also do a semi-custom version where you can adjust the colors on here, or a full custom, well, they'll actually mold it to you and build it exactly to your specifications. Before we start riding, you want to make sure you take advantage of the heat molding process. We have a separate video that we'll link to, but you simply place it in the oven at 160 degrees for about 20 minutes. and then while it's still warm, put them on. Make sure to take off the insoles or any cleats, as that can be damaged during the heat molding process. Then you simply stand on there, and we recommend trying it a couple times so that it really wraps around your feet. Here you can see a little bit of the shoe on the road. It's a great looking shoe, especially in the subtle reflex finish. It just looks like a flat gray with the nice glossy center piece and the accents. But at night, these really shine like a beacon. You can see the top of the shoe is fairly thick, but it's still quite flexible. So it's a good combination. It's not quite like a DMT knit shoe, but still very comfortable. And with the heat molding, they fit like a glove from essentially the first mile. There's really no break-in process after that. Overall, again, really impressed with the shoe. With the integrated design, you have that carbon fiber sole that really wraps around. And even though these aren't the prettiest shoes on the market with the wider anatomical design, you'll really appreciate when you're riding. We found the stiffness to be really top notch, so you can do a lot of climbing, and thanks to the heat molding and the ventilated design, you can actually be comfortable for 6-7 hour rides and not get any pressure points on your feet. You also don't have any pressure points at the top where the strap wraps around, which is usually a weak point of a lot of shoes. So great combination, and even though these are about $400, they're one of the few heat moldable shoes on the market and really gives it a leg up. Now let's do a comparison between the Vapor S and other shoes on the market. One of the more direct comparisons we have is actually the previous version of Vapor S, which is something we use almost daily. So you can see very similar design, the uppers are almost identical. The big difference here is the BOA dial. So you can see these are the old IP1 version. So you can see larger, more plasticky, while these have a sleeker, flatter look. And you can see the shape is also easier to use with those little grip rings around it. But again, otherwise almost identical. This is the other color scheme with the Reflex lineup. So it's a lighter gray with the black, while this is inverted with the dark gray, and then the shinier color for the accent. So both good looking shoes. And you can see even though we've done a lot of miles on this shoe over the last 2 years, it's held up really well. The heel pad is still there, and you can see it's just skin worn down slowly. And then the toe guard has done its job. We heat molded this one and have had great fit since then. Now, other shoes on the market are something like the DMT. This is the KR3. So much more elastic. There's a fully knitted upper. And actually one of our complaints with this was almost too elastic. You can see it's almost like a water shoe where it's like a lycra material. So very soft, single dial. While the obviously the Vapor S is much more expensive, almost double the price, and gives you the dual BOA dials. As you move up, DMT also offers a dual BOA Li2 shoe. This is the KR0, which we recently reviewed as well. And you can see, again, knitted upper, but it has this integrated webbing structure. So it still collapses flat, but has much more structure to really keep you in place in the right directions. Same dual zone. With the Bont, you get the more anatomically shaped design. So you can see how the sole really cuts inward and then really stops there, while the Bont extends all the way into the heel cup, provides more performance and much wider all the way through. So if you have wider feet, the Bont's definitely a good option. It's a lot more anatomical, not quite as pretty. You can see the color scheme on the DMT is really beautiful with this coral red. But otherwise, the Bont is a lot more functional, I believe, and price-wise, a little bit cheaper actually than the DMT. The other big player in the cycling shoe market is the Shimano S-PHYRE. So similarly priced, quite expensive with the Li2 dials. They're not heat moldable, really. Bont is one of the main heat moldable shoes on the market. Not quite as pretty again, especially in this nice iridescent blue color that Shimano has. But you get the dual BOA dials, dual zone setup, wraparound design. With the Shimano, it's almost a little more integrated as they wrap around on both edges, not just the top. Shimano does have the more integrated heel cup design. You can see you have more structure all the way around, so it provides better performance on sprints. But if you look at the profiles on here, even though the Shimano is quite comfortable, even in the non-wide version, it's not really as wide all the way through, while the Bont is consistent all the way down and gives you a more anatomical fit. So I think the big thing with the Bont is they're very comfortable, just not quite as pretty as a lot of shoes on the market. And if you have wider feet, they're a much better option as they're heat moldable. Now let's go over the scorecard for the Bont Vapor S cycling shoes. We're going to grade it on 4 different categories: design, closures, comfort, and value. For design, we'd give it an A. It has a nice retro-reflective finish, especially with the Reflex line. And it's really well constructed. You have the full carbon sole that really wraps around a great stiffness. Closures, we give it an A. The updated dual BOA Li2 dials are obviously sleeker and easier to use. And with the dual zones, you can really dial in the fit. Comfort's also an A. These are heat moldable shoes with an anatomical fit, so they fit like a glove from the first mile. And for value, I'd give it an A. Even though it's expensive, it's one of the few heat moldable shoes on the market, so you can really get a full custom experience. And for only about $100 more, you can also do a semi-custom finish where you can really customize the colors. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.